Let me tweet it out with the. Oh, shoot. I got to take that down. I don't want that one. Shout out to Iowa. That was a fun win for you guys today. Riveting podcasting right here. Check the audio, and then we will get rolling, folks. As people pile in here, I see a couple of you. Check the audio, and we're good. All righty, folks. My name is Zach Cornelius. You're here with Missouri Post-Game Live as the Tigers lose in Nashville we got a lot to talk about, but a really disgusting football game to the Vanderbilt Commodores, 17-10. Congrats to Vandy. That's a team that, look, Texas is beatable. If they get past Texas, there's a real chance the Vanderbilt Commodores are getting to the playoffs, because even if they lose to Tennessee, there's a chance Vanderbilt can make the SEC title game. Depending on what happens around the country and within the conference. But that's a really good football team. They play hard. They play with a lot of discipline. And today they didn't play that well. Like, let's be honest. It sounds like I'm denigrating Vandy, but they only had 265 yards of offense. But they play hard and they made plays at the right time, and they get a big win at home in front of their fans. They beat 2 top 15 teams in a row. That's awesome. The whole week has kind of been like the Vandy show. Like Mizzou's there is just a sideshow, and I understand the Mizzou fans' annoyance with it. But guys, like, if they were playing Ole Miss or like Texas or whoever, or Texas A&M, whatever, we would feel the same way. So I understand that point, and Vanderbilt gets a win in front of their fans. So again, you're listening to Missouri Postgame Live. Guys, if you're here, go ahead and like and subscribe. Why not? I'm here every Monday. We'll talk Mizzou football. In 2 weeks, we'll probably do what we did last year for the opening basketball game. We'll watch the game as we do a Missouri. That'll be the Texas A&M preview. Before that game really gets rolling, and just like and subscribe, guys. I want to thank Mark again. You can find Mark over at the Voice of College Football. He runs it all. He does an amazing job. I remember when I started doing this 5 years ago, covering Bama, who escaped South Carolina today, because some teams can run offense. And it's just seeing how it's grown over the last 5 years has been remarkable. So, Vanderbilt 17, Mizzou 10. The first thing I want to talk about is the positives, because there's going to be a lot of negatives. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get worked up. But the Corey Batoon today was outstanding. They gave up one explosive because, again, every team in the freaking country except Mizzou can create explosives. He did a 265 yards. Pavia, 10 for 19 for 120 yards, 8 carries for 20 yards. He had 150 basically total yards of offense. He did nothing today. The defense was incredible. Eli Stowers only had 3 catches for 42 yards. I thought across the board, there were plays. The PI, which wasn't that great of a call, but it kind of is what it is. I thought the secondary had an incredible game. I thought the defensive line, Chris McClellan, Sterling Webb. I thought Sterling Webb had an excellent football game today too. Zion Young and Damon Wilson off the edge, I thought, and even Darius Smith, I showed flashes. Toriano Pride, I thought those guys played really hard. And after what happened in the third quarter, and Pavia did throw an interception as well. But after what happened in the third quarter with the quarterback going down, and we'll talk about that here in a second, I thought this defense, there's nothing you can say more than you can just be, as a Mizzou fan, be really proud of an effort from a defense, because backs against the wall. And Mizzou offensively did hold the ball for 36 minutes. So they did a really nice job there. They gave up the one explosive. The second touchdown Vandy got was aided by that pass interference call. Again, hate the call, don't like the call, whatever. I didn't love the play call on 3rd and 8. Why is Dalen Carnell 12 yards off the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 8? It kind of let, I believe it was Sherrill, slip in and get the first down. But other than that, I thought they were incredible today. And that's a defense that is going to need to play amazingly if Mizzou's going to win another football game. So Mizzou falls to 6-2 on the season. But this defense is elite. It's as good as we thought it could be at the beginning of the season. It's just really disappointing that, again, probably doesn't matter. This is the first time I think a Mizzou defense has played a really good quarterback and a really good offense and just shut it down. The last year and a half under Batoon, usually it's like if the quarterback sucks, the Mizzou defense is going to play really, really well. If the quarterback's good, then the Mizzou defense is going to get shredded and you kind of do what you want with it. That was not the case today, obviously. The Mizzou defense was incredible. That was a hellacious effort by those 11, or how many ever guys they played, but 11 on the field. I think Marvin Burks had a good game. He missed the tackle on the touchdown run, but that's impossible for me to think Marvin Burks had a good game because he's awful. But hey, good for them. And it's really boring. I know everyone wants to hear the negatives, but the defense, man, you have to give it up to them. They were great today. That's an awesome offense, and it's crazy that Parker Livingston's the only guy Arch Manning can throw the football accurately to. Anyway, it's just really unfortunate with now your season's basically over. So Eli's done a really nice job of not getting these guys to quit, but I want to talk about this other positive. After the injury to Bo, and we'll talk about that injury here in just a moment, Matt, you had brought in a true freshman quarterback who had not played a meaningful snap and he didn't really play his senior year of high school because of an injury. And I thought he looked, for the situation, damn good. He was rifling it in there. He had poise in the pocket. He had the one ugly intentional grounding, the handoff, the botched handoff. Those are things that you expect from a true freshman on the road against a really good defense. And against Clark Lee, who's a really good defensive coach. He has been forever. He was great at Notre Dame, and he's done a really nice job at Vanderbilt. But he looked really good. Jude James and him obviously have a connection because they run a lot of second-team stuff. I think Mizzou has something in this kid. I think he could be really, really special. We'll just have to see how he develops. Obviously, he's going to probably have to play the rest of this season. So, but I thought, he looked mobile enough. It's just a tough ask. Hey, for a quarter and a half, you have to go play a top 10 team on the road as the backup, and you're down 10-3. Or your kicker misses a field goal, and now you're down 10-3. So, look, he played really well today, I think. And look, now he has a bye week, and you have a chance, and we'll see what happens against Texas A&M. But at this point, I might as well play him over Bo. We'll talk about Bo here in a second. Other injuries of note, Brett Norfleet was taken back to the locker room. Water's wet. He's always hurt. I mean, he's a really talented player, but Brett Norfleet is always hurt. Connor Tollison got nicked up at the end of the game. Again, I go live before Eli does his post game and all that stuff. So I don't know the status on them, but yeah, Norfleet 1 catch for 3 yards because, again, the only way they know how to use Brett Norfleet is on play action, out of the pistol, and then a little rollout. And Norfleet is very athletic. He can hurdle. He can do some things. He doesn't make tacklers miss. So he got taken down right away. That's just what he does. He's a tight end. We're not looking for him. We don't expect him to be Luther freaking Burden, but that's all they do with Brett Norfleet because Kirby Moore's, we'll get into it. But yeah, no, I thought Zollers looked really good. But the injuries, they suck. It sucks. It happens. Obviously, we'll talk about the Bo injury here in just a moment. But those two, yeah, like it just sucks, and you hate it for those guys. And hopefully they come back. It is a bye week. I didn't see anything about how long or whatever. But just brutal to have have so many important guys go down. Your senior center, and again, he was only down for like the last minute, so that's not the end of the world. But like that didn't cost you the game. Neither did Norfleet going out, because Jude James actually looked better. But they don't do like any tight end delay stuff with Norfleet. It's just whatever. They did it with James. They don't do it, whatever. The injuries suck. We'll, when I come back Monday, we'll do Missouri Tigers Live Monday evening, and then we'll talk more and see what kind of is to say about the injuries. All right, let's get into it. Kirby Moore, he's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. In the sport of college football, the NFL is a little different. You still need explosive plays in the NFL, but college football is so different because these are 18 to 22-year-old kids, with COVID and stuff, like, Pavi is like 24 or whatever. You have kids playing, and not all these kids, most of these kids are going to go pro in something other than sports. If you get behind you can't consistently rely on 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 4 yards, 3, 6, 7. You can't consistently rely on that, because someone's going to hold. Someone's going to drop a pass. A quarterback's going to make a bad read. A running back's going to make a bad read. There's going to be a tackle for a loss. Something's going to happen, and you're going to get behind the sticks. And if you have no ability to become explosive, you're screwed. This is the second year in a row. I talked about it all offseason. And I talked about it last year when we finally started this channel after the UMass game. This Missouri offense has no ability to be explosive. And you can't just tell me, the wide receivers. They had Luther freaking Burden on the team last year, and they were not able to create explosives. I said it before, a decade ago. 2013, Josh Henson takes over as Missouri offensive coordinator. And that 2013 offense with James Franklin, Dorial Green-Beckham, and Damian Washington, Henry Josie, Marcus Murphy, Russell Hansbrough, 4 pro offensive linemen, Marcus Lucas, shout out to him, looked incredible. They got to 2014, and the players were not as good. Matty Mock and Bud Sasser, and they lost DGB because DGB's an idiot and couldn't take care of himself off the field. And the offense got really middling. Like, it wasn't awful. Like, there were some games that looked pretty good. And in 2014, Matty Mock would go crazy in fourth quarters, like against Tennessee in Arkansas. And then it was so much fun. And then 2015, the offense was a joke. It's the worst college football. Shout out Jimmy Hunt and Darius White on that team too. What was that? But the 2023 offense, again, okay, so Membu, first-round pick. Foster, like fourth-round pick, I believe. You still had Tolleson. You had Cody Schrader, who finished 8th in the Heisman. You had Luther Burden, you had Theo Weiss, Mookie Cooper, Marquise Johnson. You had all these weapons, and Brady Cook was playing really good football because you were able to run the ball. And, okay, and then you get to the next, and you get to 2024, and it's the same thing we saw in 2014. Middling, painful, brutal offense that you cannot get any explosives. Nothing. This Mizzou offense, unless Ahmad Hardy breaks one, which he really doesn't. Like, he breaks a lot of tackles, and he's awesome. He's an awesome running back. But against good teams, he's not breaking off like 20-yard runs. He's breaking off like 13-yard runs because that look really good. And he's consistently churning out tough yardage. That's just what he does. He's a really good running back. There are pieces on this Mizzou offense that I am excited for next year. Zollers, he needs to be the quarterback. We'll see how he plays for the rest of the year. If he looks terrible, then we'll have a conversation. But at this point, like after today, we'll talk about Bo here in a second. I'm ready for Zollers to be the quarterback in 26. You'll bring back Alubade. You'll bring back Hardy. You're going to have to fix the offensive line again because they have failed to recruit that position at a high level. You're going to lose Caden Green. You're going to lose Tollison. You're going to lose Trost. The two guards are bad. So you're going to have to fix that with a mix of portal and hopefully like guys like Jack Lang are finally ready. But this offense is just not good. Like Kirby Moore can't stay around. There's a narrative around Mizzou that like Kirby Moore is really good at his job. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I listen to Solid Verbal. I listen to Cover 3. I love college football. Obviously, I will talk to nobody about college football. I get 15,000 steps a day, 8,000, and I'm just kind of rattling through college football stuff in my head about what I want to talk about on this show or on different shows or whatever. And there's a narrative, and I'll be listening to stuff, and there's a narrative that like Kirby Moore is really good. No, he's not. He's just not. Like the 23 offense was a fluke. It was an outlier. It's like 23 Mike Norvell, or even 22 Mike Norvell. It was an outlier. Last year's offense, a slog. Oh, it was the quarterback. Then you bring in Bo, still a slog. When the team doesn't suck. Kansas they put up big numbers against Kansas. Kansas gave up 40-something points at home to Kansas State. Oh, Mississippi State. That can't happen. Oh, no, Bulldogs. Sorry, as you guys know, I do watch games as I do this. And look, he got hurt. And we'll talk about all of that. Matt Zollers looked like a better quarterback than Bo has against teams that don't suck. Bo was 9 for 14 for 68 yards. He has no pocket presence. He has no ability to throw the ball down the field. It was nice to watch. I know that some of them, none of them were competitive throws. I understand that. But it was nice to see a quarterback throw the ball like 30 yards downfield when Zollers did it. Because, oh my God, somebody will do it. I know Eli wants his offenses to be efficient, and that's awesome. That's great. And offenses need to be efficient, obviously. But you have to have an element of explosivity in your game, and Bo provides none of it after Brady Cook basically provided none of it last year. I thought Hardy was pretty good today, 20 carries and 97 yards. He had a couple nice little motion sweeps with Kevin Coleman, who was excellent today. Kevin Coleman, excellent. He had 2 carries for 44 yards, and he also caught 7 passes for 109 yards. Kevin Coleman played a really good football game today. Jamal Roberts, 10 carries for 22 yards. He was not very good today. But overall, the running game looked kind of closer to the running game we saw earlier in the year. You were just playing a much better team, so it wasn't, you weren't running for 9 yards at will. You get down to the goal. Damon Wilson, your defense makes an incredible play. Damon Wilson picks it off. Gets a little lucky that it wasn't overturned fumble. It was called down on the field. It's one of those, like, if it was called a fumble on the field, I think it would have stayed a fumble. But because he was called down, like, there was no conclusive, which is good. And it was a hell of a play. And a hell of a play by the Vanderbilt kid to force that fumble, too. Even though he was down, a hell of an effort play. We saw Mizzou do a play like that in 2014 against Toledo. And it kind of changed that game because Toledo had some momentum up there in the Glass Bowl. And you have 1st and goal at the 10. Hardy breaks a run for 7 yards. So you have 1st and goal. So you have 2nd and goal at the 3. Okay. So you have Ahmad Hardy now. It's 3rd and goal at the 2. You have Jamal Roberts. You have Ahmad Hardy. And you run some short side nonsense rollout. I don't know if they were looking for a throwback. Bo almost throws a freaking interception. And it's the stupidest play I have ever seen. If this Vanderbilt defense, which is a really good defense, stops Ahmad Hardy 3 times in a row from inside the 3, you tip your cap. And you go, hey, we gave it to our best player on the goal line, and it didn't work. But no, they do this stupid little throwback. And it almost gets picked. And then the next play, Bo runs, gets hurt. I don't know how much Mizzou football some people have watched. On designed runs, Bo has not been good this year. He just hasn't been. It's hard to design a QB run game. I understand that. But Bo, he wasn't playing well early on either. There was a play early in the game. I'm pretty sure it ended up being a wide zone to Josh Manning, or I'm pretty sure it was a read though. And if he reads it and keeps it, he's still running. But he read the handoff, and Manning it was like 2nd and 4, and then it's 3rd and 10, and God knows you're not completing a pass on 3rd and 10. Barring a miracle. He's got to go. He's got to go. Look, people don't want to talk about this, and I don't want to talk about it because, yeah, it was a 3rd and 4. You're right. Thank you. I don't want to talk about it. This is about to get a lot tougher for Mizzou with 9 conference games. It's about to get a lot tougher to get into situations where you can play football games like this. You need an offense. Your offense isn't going to be great every week. It's just not. Vanderbilt has a great offense. It stunk today. And a lot of that was due to Mizzou. Like in this league, when you have look, people want to argue Big Ten, SEC, whatever. SEC is overrated. Every year at the NFL draft, the SEC has the most players drafted. Now, that doesn't mean anything when it comes to the teams. I understand that. But when you play the athletes that are consistent, that are in the SEC, the defenses are going to be pretty good. Texas, and sometimes the offenses are going to have a day. Like Texas has a really good defense. They've given up 38 to Mississippi State. It happens. It's a weird sport. It's an oblong ball and things happen. But you have to put yourself in a position to where, is anybody shocked the offense sucked today with Bo in there? Is anybody shocked it sucked last week? I had some hope against Alabama, but once the Alabama game got really moving, it was like, oh, this is last year's offense. Okay. Even in the UMass game, there were signs of in the South Carolina game, it was like, oh, this is last year's offense again. And then on 4th down, you run that. Look, it's worked a million times for Mizzou. It didn't work this time, and your quarterback's probably out for the year. Let me check as I'm talking Power Mizzou, see if they have anything, or if anybody has anything from the post-game press conference. But I doubt it. But you run the little, fake pitch QB power that worked a million times with Brady Cook, and it's worked with Bo before. So he suffered a lower leg injury. Drinkwitz says no broken bones, but return could take a while. So he's out for the rest of the season. Okay. And look, the play where he got hurt looked a little dirty from the Vanderbilt kid. It's hard to know intent. He could just be like, look, it looked like he might have gator rolled him, but he also was trying to make a tackle at the 1-yard line against a big guy. I don't want to assume anything. It's just an unfortunate thing. But yeah, Bo's is out for the rest of the year. That's according to Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports. So the true freshman, it's your job now, man. We'll rally around Matt. Can he Matty Mock this? Mizzou can win the rest of their games, hypothetically. I don't think they will. I think now you're staring at 8-4, maybe 7-5. This is about to get a lot tougher to play games like this, and your offense can't be a joke. He needs to go. And that kind of gets to my next point. And it's, what happens always seems to happen to Mizzou happen again. It's a 12-team playoff, but if not now, when? You've had 2 opportunities now in back-to-back years where you've had really good chances to make the playoff. Last year, you had a very favorable schedule. You played before the season. Everyone was like, Alabama's the only great team on that schedule. They get smoked by Texas A&M. Oh, Texas A&M might be really, really good. They lost 4 games. They weren't that good. They lost to you lose at South Carolina, and not only did you lose to Texas A&M, you got smoked. The Bama thing, look, you had a backup quarterback, Drew Pine, awful, whatever. And you missed. This year, kind of didn't know what to expect. You lose to Bama by 3. You escape Auburn with a win. There was a lot of things that you could look at in this Vanderbilt game as like positive. And for the most part, I thought Mizzou, look, Vanderbilt deserved to win the football game because their defensive effort was incredible, especially in the red zone. But I thought Mizzou was the better team for large chunks of this game, but they don't get a win. And if you had won this game, playoff push was on. Now it's basically over. And life's about to get a lot tougher. It's one of those things, man. I don't mean to sound so defeatist. I guess we can look at kind of the season outlook. I don't mean to sound so defeatist. Look, that was a tough loss. And look, Eli's going to take some crap because of the offense, but Eli, I understand why and guys talking about Eli, this is the kind of game, and like looking forward, these things I'm talking about are why he will seriously consider the Florida job and the Florida State job. And maybe we'll see what else comes open, but he'll seriously consider those jobs. There's a ceiling there that does not exist at Mizzou. It just doesn't. And because we have determined in this sport, the two networks have determined that this sport is going to be all about a thing that a max of 18 teams can win and nothing else matters. He's going to look at it. I'm not saying he will leave. I'm not saying it's likely he leaves. I don't know. I don't have, I can everything I can read about the situation, anybody else can read. I know he has interest in, I'll be honest. I know he has interest from the Florida job. I know he does. I don't know if he'll take it, but I know he has interest. No, we're going to go back to the Sorry, my brain's scattershot. That was a weird game. I mean, Mizzou literally lost by inches. I've just seen some highlights on my one TV, and Matt Zoller's, and he's got some zip on the ball. Mizzou hasn't had a quarterback with zip since 2018, so that was fun. Got Kelly Bryant before he got hurt was pretty good, but he lofted the ball. Brady Cook obviously had no arm talent. Who else? Sean Robinson, Connor Bazelak. Yeah, let's be so for real right now. But things are about to get a lot tougher, and because you're going to play 9 conference games, you're going to play 5 teams a year, 4 teams a year on the road, and 3 of them are going to be better than you talent-wise, or be able to recruit better talent than you. And what happens to Mizzou, man? Your starting quarterback gets hurt. A bunch of other injuries happen. You run into a Vanderbilt team who once every 100 years decides to be a top 12 team in the country. And they are, and they're legit top. That's a team. They need, I think they play Auburn. That's a win. They play Auburn and Kentucky. They win both of those games. Then they need to split Texas. Texas isn't any good. I know they have to go to Texas, and they go to Tennessee. And I don't know how good Tennessee is. We'll find out a lot about Tennessee next week against Oklahoma in a de facto elimination game. That'll be a lot of fun. But it's just going to get harder. And the fact that you wasted these 2 years on an offense that just sucks. It's just a slog to watch. There's no creativity. There's no fun to it. And it doesn't have to be about talent. Vanderbilt doesn't have a ton of talent. They have guys that Eli Stowers will play in the NFL. He's really good. Diego Pavia, not going to play in the NFL. Cheryl, maybe, but they're still able to create explosives, create offense, do tricky things. It doesn't have to be always about talent. It's about what you run, about how you leverage the field. Because of the hashes in college, there are things you can do to exploit defenses, to exploit leverage, and Mizzou does none of this. And explosives don't have to be chuck the ball 40 yards downfield and maybe Marquise Johnson makes a play, which, by the way, he was invisible today. I thought the only receiver that played well was Kevin Coleman. Part of that, Bo, one read, panics, and we'll see what happens. Matt was really comfortable with Jude James, obviously really comfortable with Kevin Coleman. That's about it. Just frustrating, man. I mean, you, in college, you have to. Like, when's the last time? So it doesn't have to be that. It can be you leverage something on a mesh, and a guy gets leverage upfield in man-to-man coverage, and you break one, or it's a zero blitz, and you take a slant 70 yards to the end zone. When's the last time Mizzou had anything like that? And again, it doesn't have to be just talent. Last year, they had literally Luther Burden, and none of that happened. All their explosives come from Ahmad Hardy breaking 4 tackles, which is just not, again, he's not Kawan Lacey. Like, he doesn't do that often. He's more of like a break a couple tackles and get 13 to 14. He's still excellent. He's still, I think, the best running back in the SEC. Although Lacey's going to give him a run for his money, and Justice Haynes at Michigan will give him his running as the best running back in the country. But you just wasted 2 years. You can't create explosives, and you can't do anything offensively. You're going to be stuck, and you're going to have to rely on these 8, 9, 10 play drives that you can't have a hold. You can't have a false start. The quarterback can't miss a read, and you're in 2nd and 10. The running back can't get a guard can't miss a block, which these two often do. And I never talk about refs, but I don't actually think they were refs that bad today. Honestly, I think Mizzou got the benefit of some calls, and SEC officials are a joke anyway. That PI on Mizzou was terrible. But the fumble they called, that was not even close. Some of these plays weren't even close, and we're still reviewing them. Some spots are off, but obviously the refs are. I thought Mizzou, comparatively, I actually thought Mizzou got the better end of the officiating today. So, and I don't often like to complain about officiating. I'm a play well enough where it doesn't matter, and that goes for all sports. It goes for basketball. It goes for football. Play well enough for the officiating doesn't matter. But this is it's not now for the playoff win. As they move closer to that strength of schedule thing, maybe 9-3 gets you into the playoff. And look, as the playoff expands, Mizzou will get in it. But guys, I don't care about Mizzou being the 22 seed in a 2014 playoff. Who cares? Once the playoff becomes so big, it's so watered down. It's who gives a crap? But Kirby Moore's got to go. And since I'm in a complaint fest tonight, I've complained a lot about Corey Batoon. Except for that weird 3rd and 8 call, I thought he was excellent today. They gave up one explosive, and it ended up being an 80-yard touchdown. And I think Carnell might have gotten tackled on the play. I don't know. But Corey Batoon was amazing today. I know I've been if Corey Batoon, keep Corey Batoon. Someone else that needs to go is Eric Link. Special teams routinely a joke. You missed another field goal, and I know everyone's gonna it's a true freshman and you missed a cheap shot. Look, I get that, I understand that, but there's a couple. Danny on Twitter, a Mizzou fan, if you know, follow Mizzou Twitter, he's talked about it before. How did Blake Craig get hurt again? Oh, right. He was trying to make a tackle 35 yards downfield, up 40 against Central freaking Arkansas. How do you not grab your kicker before by the face mask and say, don't do anything stupid, we need you? It's not like Bo got hurt on a play. Those kinds of things happen. It can be fluky, it can be stupid, but it happens. It's football. But your kicker got hurt trying to make a tackle. Are you kidding me? Up 40 against Central freaking Arkansas? Special teams for Mizzou largely have been awful for years. Just awful. When's the last time Mizzou successfully faked the punt? The Kentucky game 2 years ago, and that play was freakishly weird. Marquise Johnson of all people won a jump ball, and it kind of changed that team and the program at the time. But special teams has been a joke, and he's been around. He coached under Pinkel, so he just seems to have unlimited job security. Yeah, I think Eric Link can go. Again, guys, Missouri postgame live. Mizzou loses to Vanderbilt 17-10. We've talked about the fact that I thought the defense played their best game of the year. I thought they were incredible. Maybe the best game since Batoon got here. And you know what, outside of maybe the Tennessee game in 23, and that Tennessee offense wasn't that great. So this might be the best defensive performance Mizzou's had in a long time, considering the circumstances. Looking at the rest of the season, you're on the brink. You lose again, and you could lose every game with a true freshman backup. Look, I thought he played well today. He led 2 drives where you missed a chip shot field goal, and he scored a touchdown on the other one. And the other one he got inside the 30, and you had to throw a Hail Mary. Fine. And then he completed. It just was short, unfortunately. Hell of an effort by Kevin Coleman. But so your season's probably over in terms of making the playoffs. So that means you get to play in some meaningless bowl game on New Year's Eve that, I probably won't even watch because it'll be at 1:00 and I have to work. So cool. Great. Grand. Hopefully you win 10 games again. There still is something to play for. Mizzou's never won 10 games 3 years in a row in program history. That'd be awesome. I just don't think it's likely. We'll see what happens against Texas A&M in a couple weeks. Because as I just said, from Matt Zenitz and Power Mizzou, Bo Prabula out for the season. Zollers, man, if he plays well for the next 4 weeks or shows a lot of promise, could be in line to be the starter, next year. And I know Bo still has a year of eligibility, but if Zollers plays well and you win 3 of 4 or you go 2-2 and he looks really good, yeah, and we'll see what the bowl game brings. You might tell him to hit the road. Is what it is. It's a tough business. What else did I want to touch on? Let's see. We talked about Eric Link and how awful he is, Kirby Moore and how he needs to go. And I know, I see going back to Kirby Moore because that's my main takeaway from today's game. Oh, Mizzou's top 15 in offense. Mizzou's this, Mizzou's that. They did it against a bunch of bad teams. Kansas's defense couldn't stop a cold. Central Arkansas, Louisiana, UMass. Tell me which of these defenses I'm supposed to be impressed you put up points against. You couldn't score against Auburn. You couldn't score against Vanderbilt. And you were running the ball well. But again, when you need 7 to 8 to 7 to 11, shout out 7-11, perfect plays. I full disclosure, my girlfriend's right over there, and she is a graphic designer and works at 7-Eleven, so I knew I had to throw that in. But when you need, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever, perfect plays where you can't have a negative, you can't have a hold, you can't have a penalty, you can't have anything of the sort, or you're screwed. This kind of stuff happens. It's a bunch of empty calorie yards, but it is what it is, guys. I will be here Monday to talk about, kind of more about this game when I'm not as just down in the dumps because that sucked. It just sucks. Look, as much as I complained about Bo and everything, it's still to see that injury. No, I haven't. And the crazy thing too is they're both legit calls. It wasn't, again, I talked about this. I know you've been in here. I don't think the ref, like Mizzou got hosed by the refs or, the refs, like I thought out of anybody, like Mizzou got a couple of favorable calls in that game. Like the Damon Wilson interception, if they had called it a fumble on the field, I think it would have been a fumble, but they called him down. So, but no, I've never seen 2 tripping penalties and 2 like they were legit. Like you can't do that. The only penalty I can think of is the PI. In the fourth quarter on a ball that's probably uncatchable, but like you can't grab a guy. Like it probably would have been better. It probably would have been better and just more honest if they just called holding. If they've called holding, nobody complains about it because he did hold him. I don't know why officials sometimes call holding and sometimes call PI. I don't really know. That one was probably closer to. Oh, yeah, that missed offsides. Yeah, that sucked. But here's the thing that, like, no one's talking about that with that play. Bo had Kevin Coleman on a flag route. Like, it was there. It's a makeable throw. It had to be a nice throw. I will. That was gross. I'll grant that. You had to make a really nice throw there. But he was open. Like, it was there. He got in between. I believe they were in cover 2. So he got in between the underneath corner and the safety over the top. 15 yards or whatever down the field. Oh, we thought he had a free play. It's a makeable throw. It's a throw that like good college quarterbacks have to make. It's a throw with time. Matt Zollers is going to make a lot. And you missed it because he's just not a thrower. He one read and he panics. This is we saw the Kansas game and we got really excited about potentially this offense if Bo Prabula could throw the football. But he can't. Like Kansas today, we got really excited with the Kansas game. Kansas gave up 42 points at home to Kansas State, who's awful. 4-4. So, yeah, Matt Zollers, every time you see anything about him, it's like, oh, this kid could be one of them. He's really good. He's really talented. Again, it was nice. It was like alarming to see a Mizzou quarterback throw. They weren't even competitive passes, but he threw the ball 45 yards downfield, and it was like, oh God, like a quarterback can do that. I forgot about that in Mizzou offense. He's got a little zip on the ball. The one throw to Manning was really nice. Even the touchdown to Jude James was a really well made throw. Like he guided it in there, but it had a little bit of zip because there was a linebacker closing. Zollers is a chance to be a really good player, and honestly, if he plays well, like he should be the starter going into next year. Even with Bo coming back potentially. It's a tough business, man, but like this is something else we're not loving to talk about, but you're losing most of your offensive line. You're losing most of your defense. Next year might be a bit of a rebuild. Maybe go ahead and play Zollers. And look, next year being a rebuild is going to be pretty brutal if you're coming off like a 7-5 season. So in context, it'll make sense, but context doesn't always matter. So I'll be back Monday for Missouri Tigers Live. Obviously, we'll talk more about this game. We'll have more information. Why is Mississippi State throwing 2 deep shots on first and second down in overtime? Whatever. But Zollers is going to have a couple weeks to practice. We'll be back Monday for Missouri Tigers Live, and then I have a week off to. Oh yeah, because Sam Horn getting hurt. Yeah, because you ran it was never a quarterback competition. It was a whole thing to keep Sam Horn engaged because Sam Horn was going to go play professional baseball as soon as the season ended. And if what happened with Bo eventually, you needed to have a quarterback ready to go. And then you don't protect him. You run him on some stupid like quarterback draw against Central freaking Arkansas, and he gets hurt. Like Kirby Moore's hurt 2 quarterbacks with inane play calling. No, that's not fair. One, the Bo thing, like, look, that's the play they've run on 4th down for 3 years, and it's worked more often than it hasn't. So that's not fair. The play call on 3rd down was stupid, and I think a lot of his play calling now is just predictable. The fumble, I don't know who that's on. If it's on Zollers, like, look, he's a true freshman, and they scored on it, but kind of is what it is, man. So I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna watch the rest of some of these games and just kind of unwind. Like, I'm not one of those guys like, oh, Mizzou lost, I can't watch college football. Like, I love this sport, and I've seen worse Mizzou losses than this. I'll see worse Mizzou losses than this in the future. It just really sucks that, October 25th, it's all over. Like, if everyone was still healthy, like, it still might be okay, but we'll see. We'll be back Monday from Missouri Tigers Live, so come ahead and tune in on Monday night, 7 o'clock, while you're watching. I believe there's a World Series game that night because they play tonight. Or I forgot. I don't know the baseball schedule. And you all have a wonderful rest of your night. I'm Zach Ramelius. I will be here Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, guys. And as always, MIZ and Matt, it's your time, man. Good luck. Let's see what you got, kid.